We all know what puppy dog eyes are. We all know when maybe the dog has pooped on the rug or eaten your homework and now you can't use that excuse because no one is going to buy it. They look so guilty. But according to research, what they're expressing isn't guilt at all. So we assign different, I guess, anthropomorphizations to everything around us.
Yes.
Like even when people are like, the city of LA is, it's like a person.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, it's a setting, but okay.
Yeah.
And this goes true for one of the most beloved animals on earth, dogs, which are literally man's best friend. And we assign different feelings to dogs. Like I said, like if they've done something wrong afterwards, you would confront the dog, and the dog would, typically it's like big, showing the whites of their eyes, looking up, wee, 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 whimpering, that kind of thing. So according to Dr. Alexander Horowitz, who is a scientist focused on dog cognition and the author of Inside of a Dog, What Dogs See, Smell, and Know, and Being a Dog, Following the Dog into a World of Smell, what they're actually doing is looking fearful of being scolded. They're scared. They don't actually have this ability to think about guilt, which we will get into in a second. She talked about her methodology in the demonstration of how we assign these emotions to dogs. Here's how the study went. Based on the abstract, trials varied the opportunity for dogs to disobey an owner's command to not eat a desirable treat while the owner was out of the room, and varied the owner's knowledge of what their dogs did in their absence. The results revealed no difference in behaviors associated with the guilty look. By contrast, more such behaviors were seen in trials when owners scolded their dogs. The effects of scolding was more pronounced when the dogs were obedient, not disobedient. These results indicate that a better description of the so-called guilty look is that it is a response to owner cues, rather than that it shows an appreciation for a misdeed. Basically what this amounts to is the dog is not reflecting back on its actions and feeling guilty. The dog doesn't have what is sometimes known as executive function, which is thinking about thinking. The dog is scared because of the scolding in the current moment being delivered from the owner. Like, you did bad boy, newspaper. That's the part that they're scared of. They don't realize that this is a direct result of their own actions and they're not reflecting on their own actions. So maybe train your dogs different.
Right. I mean, it all kind of goes back to Pavlov, which is interesting. Like, because Pavlov, it was how can we elicit a response to food by noise or whatever. So like eventually just the noise itself would create salivation and had nothing to do with the food in front of them. It's the same type of thing. Like if you reward a dog for doing something, it'll keep doing that. And if you yell at it, which obviously dogs do not like to be yelled at or whacked with a newspaper. Yeah, nobody does. Then they would be afraid of that happening. So then maybe their behavior would change because of that. Yeah, we do that all the time, especially with dogs, because they're so expressive that we just kind of say, oh, look, he's sad or something like that. And or sad is actually one that they can perceive, but like something about themselves, self-reflective,
yes,
is completely off the table, and we just kind of have to accept the fact that our dog is not emotionally intelligent enough to know that they have done something wrong.
I mean, they may be emotionally intelligent enough, but there's no evidence to support that they are,
right?
According to this research. So it's pointing towards them not being proved to have this knowledge of reflecting upon themselves. It's very, as according to the methodology she showed, it's the same reaction to guilt or fear, the same way, and it doesn't really matter what happened beforehand. So, I mean, we love our dogs, we love our cats, we love all of our pets, and we want to understand them more. As being more than a little creature that lives with us. And I think assigning emotions or anthropomorphizing is a way that we often do this, or a way that humans try to understand and categorize things. But it's not necessarily right.
Yeah, and we have to. I feel like that's something that humans have to do, is kind of make everything seem slightly human. So making a dog seem like, oh, it's ashamed of itself, when obviously they can't be, or evidence would suggest that maybe they are not. They're much more like cats, except we can train dogs, and you cannot train a cat.
I love cats. I'm
I
a
love
cat
them too.
person.
I live in a house with 3 cats right at the moment.
What? You're cool.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. One of them's a foster, so we're not going to keep that one. But they're all just monster people, and cats have grown to the point where they can do anything, and we just kind of go, well, it's a cat.
Yeah.
And so I feel like dogs have the disadvantage of being very emotive, and so we can, and also afraid, which is very sad that we can train a dog so much better because it
can be manipulated.
It can be manipulated. Cats you can't manipulate at all.
That's what I like about them. I think that's why I'm a cat person.
And you have to earn their respect,
Yeah.
which I respect them myself.
I know, I like earned love. I'm just saying, I need to deserve it. Maybe I've just revealed an emotional problem with myself. Anyway, using guilt as a motivator to train a dog may not be the best route, because it may not actually exist at all. Kyle Anderson, thank you for joining me this week for Nerd Alert.
Absolutely. It was an absolute pleasure to be here. Thank you for the invite.
We can check Kyle's work out on Nerdist.com.
Absolutely.
And your podcast is available.
It's on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. It's Doctor Who, The Writer's Room is my podcast. And we do it once a month, around the 15th of the month, talking about the writers of Doctor Who. Please check that out. And then, read everything that I write on Nerdist.com.
Typically, when you go to Nerdist.com and you find an awesome article, I'm not saying everyone else isn't the best, but Kyle's are really good.
Thank you so much
and
for
that's
saying
kind
so.
of a big reason why I invited you here.
Oh, thank you very much. That means a lot. Thank you.
All right, everyone. Thanks for joining us this week on Nerd Alert. And also, if you have comments about dogs, leave them below.